So this is Module 1, Introduction to Safety at Work. By the end, you'll know about the laws and regulations that keep you safe at work, what you need to do to be safe at work, and what you expect from your employer. You'll also learn about hazards at work and what they can be done to identify and control the risks that pose. Workplace safety legislation. When you work in Victoria, your health and safety at work is covered by laws, regulations and compliance codes that define what you and your employer need to do at work to make sure everyone is safe. Your workplace will also have its own policies and procedures that you must follow to ensure safety. Workplace hazards. Many aspects of work can be dangerous to people's health and safety. Anything that has the potential to cause harm at work is referred to as a workplace hazard. Hazards can be objects like machines or equipment, and hazards can also result from processes or work practices, such as noise, fatigue, or manual handling of objects. Any hazard will pose a degree of risk. Risk is possibly that a hazard will actually cause harm to someone. How much risk a hazard poses is influenced by many factors, such as frequency of exposure to the hazard, the number of people exposed to it, and the seriousness of the harm it poses. WorkSafe Victoria defines harm as harm is death, injury, illness, and also includes psychological illness or disease that may be suffered by a person from a hazard or risk. Being able to identify and know how to control hazards and risks is important for all workers to carry out their duty of care under the OH&S Act. Step in managing hazards and risks at work is being able to identify them. Your employer will have identified hazards by inspection, by actually walking around the workplace and looking for possible issues. Your employer may have also conducted research and data analysis into previous incidents and statistics in other workplaces to identify hazards, or they may test and measure aspects of work, such as noise or dust levels. You may also be surveyed as a part of the OH&S identification process. Your responsibility for hazards at work includes identifying anything that may cause harm that your employer may be not aware of. After a hazard has been identified, the degree of risk it poses must be analysed. The common hazards and risks. Here are some common workplace hazards and the risks that they pose. Mechanical hazards that they have potential to cut, rip, tear, abrade, crush, penetrate, produce projectiles or cause sudden impact. Chemical and biological hazards that have the potential to impair health, have the adverse effects on human reproduction, cause disease, and have explosive, flammable, toxic or corrosive properties. Sources of energy that have the potential to cause harm include electricity, heat, cold, noise, high-powered light, and damaging radioactive sources. Body stressing or impact hazards that cause stress to the muscles or skeleton. Gravity hazards that are carried out where a person can fall on an object into another person. So psychological hazards that have the potential to lead to psychological and associated illness, including work-related stress, bullying, workplace violence, and work-related fatigue.
Hazard identification in practice. To practice your hazard identification, look at this photo. The yellow part in this warehouse is a designated walkway. People can walk on this part safely out of the way of forklifts and other vehicles. This pallet of boxes has been placed partially on the walkway. Is this a hazard? The answer is yes. What is the most likely risk here? The answer is the pallet may cause someone to step into the path of a forklift. Is it possible that someone could be hit by a forklift and injured as a result of stepping off the path because this pallet is obstructing the walkway? Yes, it is possible. This pallet is a hazard because it has the potential to cause someone to step out of the safe zone into the path of a forklift, which could collide with the person and cause injury. Given the pallet's location on the path, the risk of harm is probably very high. You may also notice a puddle of water on the path, which may also pose a risk in terms of a slip hazard. These hazards will need to be controlled.
After a hazard and its risks have been identified, they must be controlled. Controlling a hazard means removing or minimizing its risk of harm. Hazard control can always be achieved in numbers of ways. Which the following you do to control the two hazards in this scenario? You have a duty of care to advise your supervisor immediately, clean up the spill, and you should arrange to have the pallet moved as quickly as possible.